progress.
Hi, Val.
Hello. How are you?
I'm not doing too great today, actually. I'm not feeling well.
Oh, boy.
I just took a rapid test and the rapid test says I'm negative, but I feel awful. I feel like I might have bronchitis again. I haven't had it in a while, but I used to get it all the time.
Wow.
Well, the rapid test is wrong. I don't know. I might go get a PCR.
Yeah, boy.
Actually, a member of the Board of Health just tested with the rapid test and didn't believe it and went for PCR. And in fact, he was positive.
Yeah, I feel terrible, Fred. I'm headache, sore throat, achy chest. Yeah, aches and pains, all of it.
Poster child. That's too bad.
Fred, could we,
Well, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
I could, yeah. So I think it does seem wise to get to Salem and do a PCR then with that Stop the Spread site, which gets me those results by tomorrow morning.
Yes. Hold on just one
Problem with
second.
that is the last thing you want to do when you feel like hell is drag yourself
Yeah.
to Salem. But
Hey, Val. Yes.
I was just going to suggest is maybe she could quickly do her report early and then we could continue with our meeting without her, just so she can take care of herself.
Fine.
oh, that's very nice of you, Val. But I'm okay with going in order. I'm okay with going in order.
But if,
My big thing is that as long as I can keep my camera turned off and nobody sees that I'm in my robe right now and my pajamas because I feel like hell, then I'm okay.
Gee, I
okay.
feel dressed up then. I've got a scarf on.
I even took a shower wearing my suspenders, my Christmas gifts.
Hi, Barry. Hi, Howard. Hi,
Hello,
Frank.
Rosalie. Rosalie, you were on mute.
I don't see anybody else. Oh, let me look at the gallery.
Morning.
Hi,
Oh, here's
Suzanne. Good morning.
everybody.
Morning,
Look at
Howard.
everybody. Hi.
And Frank Bellini. Good morning.
Good morning
We
to you
have
all.
1, 2, 3, 4. We have 5. We have a quorum. Good. Jay Castafaro, I know, is on his way. We'll give him 2 minutes and then we can get started.
I am not part of the quorum.
Yeah, I know, but Barry
Okay.
and Susan, Suzanne, Rosalie, me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Fred, can I ask you a question
Sure.
before the meeting starts? So were there 2 different agendas sent out
No.
on email? Because I have one agenda that has the invitation and how to sign in. And then when I looked on my email from you today, that
Yeah.
information wasn't on there, on the agenda. So did you send out 2 different agendas?
No. But I've been sending you other stuff. I've sent the standards for the vending machine, and I sent you
Yeah, I got,
the report from the health department on the kitchen.
I don't know how that happened. Because when I went to bring up the agenda,
Yeah.
the email from you to log on, this part here that says how to log on wasn't on the agenda. And I said, I printed this out at work yesterday. Said,
Yeah.
how did that happen? I don't know, it's crazy.
Yes.
It's okay, I did it on my own, like a big girl. I'm so proud of
Oh my
myself.
God.
Logged on and everything.
See, lifelong learning. You're
So you
welcome,
never-
Rosalie.
Never stop learning. Like I
All
got
right, guys.
stressed about it all morning. There you
Shall we
go.
drop the hammer on this and get going? Okay, I'd like to open
Yeah.
this meeting, please, of the
Thank
Gloucester
you.
Council on Aging. We are meeting remotely via Zoom. Today is Tuesday, January the 4th, 2022, and it's roughly 9:30 in the morning. Consistent with the governor's orders suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law and banning gatherings of more than 25 people, this meeting will be conducted by remote participation to the greatest extent possible. The public may not physically attend this meeting, but every effort will be made to allow the public to view and listen to the meeting in real time. For the purposes of the recording secretary, could you do it by voice roll call, please, starting with Val?
President Val Gilman.
Frank, would you take yourself off of mute, please?
Yes, sir.
And say your name, please, for the recording secretary?
Frank Bellini.
Thank you. Barry?
Barry McKay.
Howard?
Howard Frith from the Council on Aging, Friends of
Rosalie.
the Council on Aging.
Rosalie?
Rosalini Castro.
Susan?
Susan Goodall.
And Suzanne?
Suzanne Silvera.
At least you are on mute. Elise? I'll show you with this minute. And
Elise Sinagra, sorry,
thank
Fred.
you. Next item on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of the December 7th, 2021. You've all had a copy of them. Are there any additions, subtractions, or any changes? Hearing none, may I have a motion, please, to approve the minutes?
I have a change.
Oh, good. Great.
First of all, the discount is $10, not 5 to 10.
It is exactly $10?
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
we'll make it-
And when you go down to the webpage, it says the wording is a little weird on, wait a minute, let me get it up. Wrong one. The wording down at
What
where
page,
it
please?
says,
Susan, what page?
it says on the, under old business on the webpage, it
Yeah, page
says
2.
that the IT department is going to make changes that they suggested to the page, and that should be we,
Got
the
it.
board, that we suggested, not they.
Yes,
That sounds like the IT department made the,
right.
okay?
Yep, make that change. So may I have a motion to approve the minutes of December the 7th, 2021 as amended?
Motion to approve.
Thank you, Barry. Is there a second?
Second,
Thank you, Susan. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I,
All opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you. Update on the board members' activity.
Brad?
Yes,
Excuse me. Just a quick point of order. We've got to do roll call because we're back on Zoom.
yes, you're right.
Sorry.
Thank you. Let's see, Barry. Approval of the minutes as amended?
Yes.
Rosalie?
Yes.
Susan?
yes,
Suzanne?
Yes.
And I say yes. Thank you, Val. You're correct on that. Okay. Moving on. Update on board members' activity. Before we start, I'd just like to have a silent moment of reflection for Bob Quinn, who I'm going to miss. He just was an extraordinary, fine fella. Well, I won't go into lots of stories about him. We have just a few seconds just to think about him on his pleasant voyage where he is now. Thank you. He's a good guy. Next, I would open with a congratulations to Val Gilman, who is my ward counselor, who, no kidding, was reelected unopposed, and that's no surprise. But I'm pleased that among her peers, she has been elected president of Gloucester City Council.
Congratulations.
And
Thank you,
she has agreed to continue her membership on the Council on Aging, and I am just delighted to have the president of the Gloucester City Council, a member of the Council on Aging. That is really cool. I don't know that that's ever happened before, but you know.
Oh, get out of here.
No, I'm quite serious. I don't think the president of the City Council has ever been a member of the Council on Aging. No.
I love you guys. I was absolutely going to try to reappoint myself. So
Well, I'm thrilled.
thank you.
Let's see. Barry, what's on your mind?
I just one quick point. I spending a lot of time on a website called Senior Planet. Senior Planet is a senior community, if you will, with offices in New York, San Antonio, Texas, Colorado now. And last night I was on with a class of 100 people from across the country. And the course was on Google Workspace. And I've never touched Google, but I've seen documents coming out from it and I need to learn it. So it was a start. But what amazed me was there was 100 people on this Zoom session. And I flipped through the pages because there were 4 pages of 25 people. And I wanted to see what the age group was. And the age group looked much like me. There were a few working people there that were trying to learn for their occupations, but the majority was just like most seniors. And what amazed me was they all were inputting to the instructor, who she was very sharp, but she didn't know everything. And a lot of the seniors were giving her in the chat part of the Zoom the answers to the questions that people were asking, which it absolutely blew me away. And I've got another session this afternoon. So my point is, there's a lot of great stuff out there for seniors remotely. They are building communities out there where not only are they doing technology training, but they're doing community type meetings where people can get together over coffee at 8 o'clock in the morning and talk about what's on their minds. And so they're sponsoring these things. They're all for free. And it just fits very closely with what the computer group, Frank Whitney and the rest are trying to do. Because what I'm beginning to recognize is there's 11,000 senior centers in this country. That's the National Council on Aging's number. I got that from their website. And if you assume that only 20% of those 11,000 have computer training, I think the number is somewhat 20, 30%. That's 2,200 senior centers that are doing training across the country. And if you put them together with what private industry is doing, and it's all for free, can you imagine what we can create out here? And working with the group that's doing our training to help seniors learn technology, I'm just blown away with it. So that's what I've been up to.
Would you send that address around to us, please?
Which one?
The course that you just took.
Senior Planet, I'll be happy to.
Thank you. Rosalie, what's on your mind?
Okay, I have a question for Elise. Elise, in the newsletter in December, it said that we were gonna have a balance program at Rose Baker, and I don't see that in the newsletter in January. Has that been canceled?
No, it filled up really fast, Rosalie. It's called A Matter of Balance, and it's a nationally recognized evidence-based program. We had to cap the number, just for how many people we could fit in the room and how many people the instructors are comfortable with too. It's a great program, but here's the good news. It filled up. We got a waiting list, and on January 19th and January 21st, I'm going to be trained to give that class. So we're going to be able to offer that going forward anytime we want, anytime I can fit it into my schedule. So
Every time I went to the senior center, which is a lot, I tried to sign up for it, and there was never a sign up sheet out there on the desk. I can't believe I missed it. All right,
Yeah.
then I'll try to get in on your class.
yeah, so Rosalie, whenever I put in the newsletter, when I put specific instructions to speak to a specific staff member about a sign up for a program, try to go to that staff member. So I had assigned that to Ann, and Ann was taking all the signups. But just so you know, though, it filled up in a snap. I mean, it filled up so fast.
Yeah, there's only 8 people in a class, correct?
No, 12.
All right, then I'll look for the other one, next class.
Yeah.
And the other thing, while I was at work yesterday, somebody so kindly pointed out that Bob Quinn's name should be deleted from the newsletter, and Max Schenk is the director, not the interim director.
Yeah.
So we
those
could make those 2 changes next time.
Okay, thank you, Rosalie.
Thank you. That wasn't for me. It was
No.
someone.
No, I
It's on
understand.
my
I
list
want-
of things to do.
Yeah, I want it to be perfect. So
Yeah,
Thank you, Rosalie.
okay, thank you.
Susan Goodall.
I just have a issue that came from a friend of mine who she has a little difficulty reading the small print on the menu items on the calendar.
Yeah.
And she thought if they were in black or a color that was easier for people with sight problems to read, that might help. Even if the font stays the same size, the coloring is an issue with her, particularly in December, she had issues with it.
Thank you.
So I just thought I'd pass that along.
Yeah, no kidding. That's very helpful. Good morning, Jay. Let the record show that Jay Gustafaro is here. Suzanne, what's on your mind?
I'm good. I don't really have anything. Thanks.
Okay. Once Jay gets connected to audio, while he's doing that, I should say that I learned via the grapevine that Chris Sicurranza, his term in the mayor's office left when the administration changes, so that if we're not automatically on a list for a liaison with the mayor's office, we should request someone to replace Chris Sicurranza, who I thought did a stellar job. I'm going to miss him, but I presume that somebody comparable will be directed to work with us, so that Elise has someone to deal with rather than directly with the mayor, who actually she answers to. Good morning, Jay. Anything on your mind before we get with the
I don't know
rest of the
why.
agenda?
I was waiting endlessly for the host to put me in.
Well, you're here. This is that's
Yeah.
the point of it.
Just you were busy, but good morning.
Good morning.
I'm ready.
We're at the point where we asked for an update on board members' activities. I'm just wondering anything else on your mind before we get moving on the agenda.
Nothing.
Thank you. Okay, program development is next up, if that's okay. Should we move on? Good. Elise, anything to do with remote programming in Magnolia Lanesville?
No, nothing yet, Fred. Nothing to
Okay.
report.
How about the jazz band and bringing them back? You had a plan for that. Is that anything come of that?
Yes, I did have a great conversation with Dave Sag, the head of the Old Salty Jazz Band, last week, and they are eager to come back. I need to reach out to somebody in the school department to see where the school department got the nifty little covers that they put on the ends of their horns to keep that, disbursement of air kind of down to a level that the school department found acceptable. So he gave me the number of how many for each different type of horn I need to order and all that. So I just need to find out who the company is that supplies those.
Yeah.
And I have the breakdown of how many I need of which kind of horn. And the Old Salty Jazz Band, excuse me, is ready when we are, as soon as we get those covers back in place. And I've spoken with Max about it as well. And, and he feels like that, that's an okay plan. So.
And just for the record, when is it that the band is scheduled to play?
Monday afternoons.
From when to when, do you know?
1 o'clock until they would usually play till about 3.
Great, wonderful. Okay, anything further for program developments? No, all right, then moving on to COVID-19 update. I typed in the information that Curative, they set up, as we knew, an office at the Open Door. It's kind of amusing because when Julie LaFontaine asked the people at Curative how many people they thought would be coming, they said, 20 or 30 a day. First day, 900 people. They had a lot with it anyway. You can imagine the cars, never mind the people. So they will be moving up to Blackburn Park. There's been a slight delay in getting a mobile trailer. for
Stage
security people to work from.
Stage 4, I think, Fred.
Where did I say?
You said Blackburn. It's at Stage 4 Park, I
Stage
believe.
4 Park, I'm sorry, yes. And I learned at the last Board of Health meeting that on January 10th is the projected day when they will be set up and start retesting up there at Stage 4 Park. Anything further in COVID-19 update? Going around? Anybody?
I do.
Val, yes?
I just wanted to announce that now on the top of the city website, there's a hyperlink right into the Board of Health weekly information. And so it's so much more consistent than just figuring people are going to see someone's Facebook post, because that's the way that every week they can pull that drop down. And on that includes testing and vaccinations. So that is the easiest way to tell members of the community, just go on to our website, right at the top, hit the button, and then you get all the drop downs from the Board of Health, including the recent numbers. So Max worked with IT on that before the holidays. I was the counselor that was being really annoying and passionate that we needed to get that hyperlink on it. And Ryan, I talked to him on inauguration day, and he said that he's going to try to make something even more catchy to the eye.
Yeah.
So just, that's the message we need to give people. You got to know the data. You got to know what's happening. We need to know how many people are in the hospital. we just need to be aware of what's going on. So
Yeah. So
How to
so
get
that people can also are in a position to make an assessment of their risk and what is acceptable. to them.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
one of the things that the Board of Health is done with the five of us is that we have, in a sense, divvied up the five different components of the people that make up Gloucester. For example, with Claudia Schweitzer, people on mental health issues and behavioral health, stuff like that. And so I'm a match for dealing with senior population. And so that will be my focus as a member of the Board of Health, is to see to it that information that's particularly appropriate for seniors to be informed about gets highlighted in addition to what Val is talking about on the webpage. And so I will be feeding information directly to Elise, who will be, I hope, sending it out on email blast as she does with the electronic version of Coastline News. And as we have developments, if they're significant, we'll have an opportunity to communicate with those persons individually, one item at a time. And it'll be a part of my daily, really, to examine what I'm getting from the health department that is particularly appropriate for seniors. And we'll also be doing the same thing in the way of video presentation, if appropriate, on Channel 67 with cooperation with 1623. And also the 1623, if there are meetings of the Board of Health that are particularly appropriate for the community at large, dealing with matters of COVID, that they will be rebroadcast on Channel 12 as well as on Channel 67. So there really is going to be just a total upgrade of communication with individual members of the city to keep them as informed as we can as developments occur. Okay.
I have a COVID update too, Fred.
Yes, please.
I just want to let the board know that we distributed, we've been distributing the rapid test kits that we got. You may have heard in the news that Governor Baker had announced prior to the Christmas holiday that that the state was going to be giving out rapid test kits for low-income folks. We got 5 cases of 90 of those distributed before the Christmas holiday. They went very quickly. The directive I was given was to try to, speed was kind of the essence in advance of the holiday to get those into folks' hands. So we did that. Later, we were asked by Senior Care if we could help get them to Meals on Wheels drivers. So I worked with the Board of Health and we did. We got one for every Meals on Wheels driver, and we got one out to every Meals on Wheels participant as well. And then we were actually given a couple more cases. We have a very limited supply left of those still. And when I got the last couple of cases that I got, Max requested that now that we aren't so focused on speed, I mean, we still want to get them in people's hands, but now that we have a little bit more time to try to focus a little bit more on trying to target the low income population. So Julie and I have been asking folks to show that they participate in and thereby qualify to participate in at least one income qualified program. Like, just show us something, show us a SNAP card or a Mass Health card or a letter showing that you get housing or that you get energy assistance, but just something that shows that you qualify for something that has income eligibility guidelines. And that's the way we're distributing those few remaining rapid test kits that we have right now.
Very good. Very good.
I-
Yes, Val.
Follow-up question, because this is so important. I know in the last meeting, we talked about Cater being able to pick people up at their homes to bring them for vaccinations. Is that offer still there? And if so, how do we make it very easy for people to get a phone number to connect with someone?
It's a shame Felicia's not here this morning, but I imagine that offer is still there. I mean, Felicia's they've been so fantastic there. And I can reach out to her if you want, Val, and just ask her, confirm that it's still the case. And just make sure that the number to call is the main number, or maybe see if there's an extension people should ask for. But she volunteered that so quickly and so readily at the last meeting, so eagerly, that I can't imagine that that's been taken away. But
So that would be great. Maybe we could put that in the newsletter too, just to let people know that it's available.
I should have mentioned at the top of the meeting, Felicia sent me a line. She had there's been a death in her family, so that's why she's not here today. But she reaffirmed her commitment on that matter of transportation.
oh no, okay,
Yeah.
good.
So,
If,
yes,
could
Susan.
we put that on the city code and drop down thing? so
Yes.
that people know about it?
Yes,
Fred, can you work with, through the board to get that added? Because I think that would be great. Transportation for seniors to vaccination spots as a drop down.
And Max has indicated as well that we're gonna be resuming the clinics at the senior center again on Mondays. He asked me before the holidays if I was amenable to hosting more clinics after the holidays, and I said, of course. So we're gonna keep those on Mondays, and we don't have a date yet of the first one, but I don't imagine that there's gonna be much or any foot dragging. I think we'll get those going again soon.
Yeah.
Well, the health department will, and we'll host them.
Can I know this is a little bit off topic and I've got a lot to say on this, I'm sorry. But is there a way that we can start doing more to promote the use of N95 masks instead of the chintzy little paper ones that we seem to all be grabbing? Because now that this new variant is, this
Going to 10 minutes.
is so it's so contagious. I think a 95% rate mask is a good thing. And my husband and I just bought like 24 on Amazon. They're coming in, but they're only like $11 for 21. They're not like they used to be, and they're easy to get.
Right.
And I just think that would be a real benefit, because when we're inside buildings and close to people within 6 feet, we need to protect ourselves. And I think that we're missing the boat if we're still using the old chintzy masks.
this is part of one of this. That's exactly the sort of project that I'd like our videographer, whose name escapes me at the moment.
Jennifer Lee, yeah.
Thank you, Jennifer Lee, to do a briefing on how to fit it, how to wear it properly, things like that.
Yeah.
Plus, yes, the members of the Board of Health and the Health Department are focusing on just that sort of intensive information, rather than just the distribution of a product, but also how to use it most effectively.
Great.
Yeah, but so yeah,
Thank you.
we're thinking on that same vein of thing.
Thank you.
Yes, Susan.
We need to encourage mask wearing much more. I have free time. I go to the grocery store and see how many people are not wearing masks. It really is frightening, and a lot of them are older people. And I think that they feel that once they've got the third shot, they're all set to go without the masks. And we just have to get that message across more strongly, because it's nice to have the better mask, but if people aren't wearing them, it doesn't do any good.
Exactly. Yes, if you see them hanging on the rearview mirror of a car, then they're not wearing them properly, because they're not reusable, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we hear about it. Anything further on COVID-19 before we move on? Thank you. Old business, the webpage and resource guide. Susan, anything to add?
I've been busy putting together the recurring activities from the calendar and the newsletter.
Yep.
And after I do a few more reviews of it, I will be sending it out to Elise and the working group to see that I've got things and that they're in the right spots.
Cool.
And then that'll be ready for whenever Brian's ready to post that. So I'm making progress there. Elise, could you give me a schedule of times when different people are on the reception desk? Because I seem to every time I go in, I seem to hit the same people. So I need to pick a time when I get somebody different. Because I want to talk to them before I put the clipboard up for the frequently asked questions, so that they know what's going on and it doesn't just show up.
Yeah, I can get you that schedule, Susan. They substitute and trade with each other a lot, so that it's no guarantee that that's who you're going to find. But there is a schedule, and we can certainly share that with you.
Susan,
I'm sure at some point I'll hit all of them if I pop in when they're supposed to be there.
Right.
Yeah.
Susan, could you give Elise a list of the people who you have already talked with, and she then could send you a line when somebody new is on the desk? Because
I could do that, but if I got the full schedule, I'd be all set. Okay.
But they shift it. The thing is that they trade off their schedules. So
Yeah, but if I come in when they're,
Okay, well, we'll do
It's
this.
just, I think it's just easier rather than weeding it all out.
Okay. Barry, anything you want to add on that subject?
No,
Okay. Let's see, Elise, you had some conversations post Susan's communication with people at Comcast about getting us on their electronic guide. What came from that? Anything?
Just so far, I just phone tagged Fred. I haven't been able to make contact with the gentleman, but I did send him a fairly strongly worded email that at least generated a phone tag and got us calling each other. It's
Okay.
just a matter of time until we do touch base. And the holidays got in the way of that a little bit, but
Okay, cool. So that we're working on that. That's not a lost cause. Yes, Susan.
I contacted the director at Carlisle just
Yeah.
to make sure. And I asked, and they're having the same problem we are. So it's not just in the North Shore, it's all over the state. That's just Comcast policy. So it's a much bigger issue than just us.
Yeah, you ever heard of the mouse that roared?
We could probably get others to roar with us.
Yes.
yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, really, the power of this board. You watch us. Okay. Let's see. Where are we? Thank you. Anything more on the cable? No. Rosie's Cafe. The update on the Christmas party luncheon, which I went to, which was a blast. It was fun. I wish Roseanne was here to speak about it. Rosie, you want to tell us your experience that day?
You said the Christmas party?
Yeah.
That was more Elise's party. I was just there helping out, but Elise was in charge of that party. I think she should speak.
Okay.
It got great reviews. I mean, that's the big thing for me, is just that the seniors all were raving about it. They said they had the greatest time, that they loved the more kind of relaxed feel of the parties now. I made sure that I very, very vocally thanked the Friends, which is appropriate, because the Friends had put the bill for so much of it. The seniors were so happy to be able to take home the wrapping paper and stuff. That was Howard's suggestion. And the Friends generously paid for the DJ, who I thought did a great job, Scotty Mack. And also, of course, the decorations. But we have quite a few decorations too. So I was there the night before until about 11 o'clock getting the Christmas trees up. But it, the big thing to me about the Christmas party is and they love the prizes too. They love that we gave so many prizes out. They love that we're doing the 50-50 now, and that 50% goes to the first winner and the other 50 goes to the second winner. The house doesn't keep anything. So they're loving all of it. And I just got really, really rave reviews about it. And of course, the food for that was provided by the Open Door as part of our regular Thursday Rosie's Cafe lunch program. But we asked them when we do a party if they can, jazz it up a little, make it a little something special. And boy, do they come through. They provided an extra nice bag lunch. The soup was fantastic. It got rave reviews, and the staff that they send over, going around with kind of their fun little healthy treats that they put together and everything. It's just a great collaboration with them. And like I said, again, the big thing to me is that I just got a ton of seniors just enthusiastically saying what a great time they had. So
yeah, just as an example, as a pass around with a large tray, labor intensive, fresh, crispy vegetables cut bite-sized with a small for dipping. It's just healthy, creative, innovative, something that people just don't get. Wonderful. And a raw vegetable, healthy, really, really good. So, okay.
Fred,
Yes. Howard, yes.
I heard we had 82 people there. Is that, or 80 or so seniors
guess.
there?
Something like that.
yeah, it was in that neighborhood, Howard.
How come we didn't have more? I thought this event would have been well attended.
Well,
More
there's this
well
thing
attended.
called COVID that's going on still, Howard.
I've
And
heard of
there
that.
was a big spike in numbers, and I think that has some people pretty freaked out. So
Yeah.
sorry for the sarcasm, but I mean, look, there are people that are still not coming out of their house.
Yeah. that's the thing that Meals on Wheels, the feedback from them is how many people really are not leaving their houses. Still, and that they're not connected to the internet. So communicating with people via Channel 12 and paper delivery and stuff like that, invitations and whatnot. Very labor intensive, but we have to encourage them. And Felicia and Kata are aware of this as well, that more frequent buses in neighborhoods for people to be able to get out on their own and to do it impetuously is a goal. Still, 82 people is a big number. I mean, the ordinary lunch is closer to what, 60?
No, our ordinary Thursday lunches are usually about between 35 and 40 people.
Okay.
And I do participate in some COA directors meetings that are put together by the Mass Council on Aging. And then I participate in another group of COA directors that are all in Senior Care's catchment area.
Yeah.
And everybody is, is reporting that their numbers are lower, since they reopened after COVID closures. So that's across the board.
Well, okay. There it is. I'm due to have a meeting with Julie LaFontaine to talk about adding more days to the week, and to do that gradually. But the goal is 5 days a week every quarter. So
Right, and right now, Fred, too, the Senior Care Grab and Go program, which is the same food as the Meals on Wheels program. But then when we were closed due to COVID, they put this grab and go program in place where people could, come through the parking lot and they grab it and bring it home. That had a very strict rule that was to be grab and go. That was not to be consumed on the property. That rule has now gone away. And I just had started to talk to Senior Care about promoting the grab and stay opportunity so that we could offer lunch 5 days a week, even though the better lunch would be the Thursday open door lunch. At least we'd have something for other folks on the other days a week. And that was when the numbers just had that, exponential rise right after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And Senior Care kind of backed away from wanting to promote that. They didn't want to play a part in encouraging that. So their thought is to just wait until this holiday spike settles down just a little bit. And then we're going to do a little bit more to promote the availability of those meals, which we know are not quite as good as our Thursday open door lunch. But they are going to, at least right now, they are letting folks do that. Grab and go can now be a grab and stay. So that's something at least.
Good. I'm looking for what's next. Okay. Moving on. The tour at Element Care and Pace, either January the 13th or January the 26th. Who among you? I know Suzanne has said no thanks. I'm either. We need to settle on a date. I have a feeling that that there's a select number of we may be able to do it all in one day. Barry, do you have a preference? The 13th or the 26th?
I had a preference, but either date I can be there because I'm going to be there because I have some specific things I'm looking for and questions I have.
Okay. Rosalie?
I always, when you give me a choice, I always pick the first date. In case anything happens, like a snowstorm or something, we can always go to the second date. So I say the 13th is good.
Okay. Susan? You have it.
26th is no good for me.
Yeah, so the 13th. All right. Jay, will you be around for that?
I've actually been there, Fred, so I probably, don't save a spot for me.
Okay, so let's nail down the 13th as being the date. And if there is an overfill, we'll arrange for a second visit, okay? But I'd like to get back to Pace to give them a heads up on that of January the 13th. And as I remember,
What time, Fred? What time will it be?
Elise, am I right about that?
Was the dates, I think, were the 13th or the 26th.
No, but I was start time, 10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
And will we all meet down there or?
Yes, please.
So what is the address?
It's at the very end of Emerson Avenue.
Across the street from the open door in the same building as Pathways in the
Pathways.
back. There's not a lot of parking.
Do we want to arrange for the senior center van? Can we fit?
I can just meet there. That's fine.
I'm good.
Okay,
I'll find parking on the street.
okay,
Walk in.
fine. So I'll send around a thing to confirm that they are indeed, that day still works for them and what.
That's good.
Thank you. Director's report.
I have to go, everyone. I'll listen to this tomorrow on Zoom to hear the director's report. Thank
Okay, hang
you.
on, Give me
Thanks,
10
Val.
seconds to scan to be sure that there's nothing that we need to vote on.
Oh, Val doesn't vote anyway.
This is true. Thank you. Goodbye, Val.
And Fred, I hate to disappoint Val when she goes back to watch this on Zoom, but I think most of the stuff that I need to report on is going to be covered later on in the agenda. And
Okay.
because I am home, I don't have my notes in front of me that I had
Okay.
on my desk to do a director's report. So if there is anything when I get back to those notes that I do want to let the board know about, can I do that by email?
Yes, and if you think of stuff as we move through the agenda, please interrupt me, okay?
Okay, thank you, Fred.
Please. Friends of the Council on Aging meetings. First of all, either Suzanne or JD, any comments before I speak directly with Howard?
Well, I didn't make last month because my crewman had COVID. I did eventually test negative twice, but I didn't go to the meeting. And
How's he doing, your crewman?
fine, sick for a day, but he's a healthy young fellow, so.
Good.
For a few hours, it seemed like it was a very mild case. His child tested positive and he had no symptoms and his wife never caught it. And I stand next to the guy 6 days a week and I never caught it. So it was sort of a typical for what I'm hearing about this,
Yeah.
this latest. So no rhyme or reason to it, really.
Okay. Yeah, this, the Omicron in particular has just an amazing ability for breakthrough. It doesn't make you as sick. The hospitalization with it in Gloucester, for example, is under 1% of our caseload is hospitalizations. But boy, does it create a caseload. It's really, the numbers are where you receive them.
I think there's a lot more testing happening too, so that might be picking up more, but it seems to be obviously more virulent. Certainly in this community, there's so much, but perhaps don't quote me, but perhaps it's a good thing that it's mild and we're going to get immunity from it,
Yes, there's a benefit there. Yes, there is, particularly with the low hospitalization. Howard, the subject that we talked about last meeting was to, I was proposing 4 times a year that our 2 boards should meet together. Did you offer that to your membership?
Yes, and we decided to put it off for at least 6 months. Just to, we want to get the book out. We're just going to hold off until next 6 months.
Okay. But then would you think that every 6 months we should be meeting, or will you consider quarterly?
Well, we didn't. We just said we'll re-examine it 6 months from now. Well, the end of June, sometime like that.
Okay. Fine. Anything you want to report to us by activity with the Friends?
No, I think Elise touched on it. We did provide funding for the Christmas party to enhance it. We're currently finishing up the last 2 write-ups for our book. We expect to be out sometime this January, which I think everyone should be aware of. The 28 we're saluting here of Gloucester people. Also, you asked me to follow up with Dion's. I called them and the refrigerator is in. So they were just waiting for a check, which we sent out, and they're going to call us when they receive the check. They'll call us and arrange for a delivery date, but
Sweet.
it's there.
Good. You're sending that check, yes?
Yes.
Cool.
Frank sent the check, sure.
Frank, you had your hand up. Good morning.
Yes. Howard, if you don't mind, I'll just report on a little bit of activity by the
Go ahead.
Friends.
Indulge it, right.
So our major fundraiser for the year is a mailing to virtually every household in Gloucester. And we accomplished that. We sent out 10,000 letters and donation envelopes by the end of the year. It was a delayed task this year, and we spent 3 days in the week prior to Christmas, which is not really acceptable. We have to improve and get this done the end of November or the beginning of December next year.
Yep.
But we had 12 volunteers from Rose Baker and Mike Feeney from the staff to support us with toting things to the post office and giving us glue sticks so we don't have to lick envelopes and things like that.
Yep.
But normally we raise in the area of $15,000 to $20,000 a year from that mailing. Last year we had an outside company do it, and it cost over $5,000. So that's unacceptably high. So we plan to continue to do it this way and better organize ourselves next year.
Mhm. Thank you. Anything further from the friends before we move on? Or any questions for either Howard or Frank, other members? No? Thank you. Let's see. New business. Elise, the non-emergency medical rides program?
I think we really need that. Was going to be a discussion that I think Felicia was going to be pretty instrumental in. That grant, pretty much the short story is that the way we're running that program right now is by a grant that CADA got, and that grant is going to run out probably about the end of March. And we just need to figure out how we're going to do it going forward, whether or not it's tenable to think about going back to the old system, which was where volunteer drivers brought people and the friends provided them with a mileage stipend to cover their gas.
Yeah.
Based on feedback that we've been getting from some of the people that had been volunteers, it doesn't look like there's a robust desire for the people that used to be the drivers to be doing that again right now. So that's one of the reasons that it might be untenable to go back to the old system. And it might also be untenable because Howard and the friends have expressed some hesitation due to liability concerns about paying that stipend any longer. So we just need to think of a new way. And with Felicia being CADA and CADA being our all things transportation go-to collaborators,
Yeah.
I think that she's going to be instrumental in brainstorming what that new way can kind of be.
Cool. Let's see. I sent you around a note.
Oh,
of that-
Barry. Oh, sorry, Fred. Barry.
Go ahead. I thought you were done. You okay?
Oh, you're on mute, Barry.
I'm sorry.
Sorry about that. I had things moving around in the room here a minute ago and I shut it off. I agree with pushing it out. Please keep it on the agenda for the next meeting
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
God, yeah.
subsequent meetings because it's too important not to deal with. May I make a suggestion that, no, I'm going to make the suggestion. May I? The issue that has been raised by the Friends is a straightforward legal issue, which the city pays an attorney. Matter of fact, there's probably two in the office up there right now. And the city attorney works for the city structure, will respond to any department head. As a department head for many years, I spent a great deal of time communicating with the law department on legal matters. But I think they'll also respond to chairman of boards of commissions and respond to them. My request is, and if no one else can write it, I'll be happy to draft it, a memo to the city attorney, Paxson, and the point would be asking on behalf of a voluntary group, the Friends of the Council on Aging, giving all the details that they're a 401(3)(b), whatever it is, organization, that they have provided this service in the past. What is their liability? and get the answer to that question.
Yes.
That sounds like a motion to me. Second,
Terrific.
Who's
Good luck
gonna
with
write that
recording
one?
Secretary. Barry, can you shrink that down into something that the recording secretary can list as a motion, please?
I make a motion that we through either the chairman or the director send I can't keep wanting to use the word email, send a
Inquiry?
memo
request.
requesting a legal opinion with all of the details regarding the prior practice of volunteers compensated or not compensated, but let me draft it. So it would be send a memo to the legal counsel from either the chairman or the director.
Yep.
With all of the details regarding the past practice to determine the liability for the city and the Friends
And the volunteer.
And the driver, yes.
And the
driver.
driver.
and the driver.
Hang on, Howard, we have a motion and then a second and then a discussion for amendments. Jay, your second still holds?
Second, sure, of course.
Thank you. Now, Howard, yes.
Yeah, Barry, if you're good enough, send it to me and I'll look over the draft before you send it on and give you my suggestions for it. But it's a long overdue idea. We want to have clarification both for the Friends, for the driver and for the city. So it's long overdue. I applaud that motion.
Thank you. Is there any further amendments or discussion on the motion? Hearing none, we have to do it by roll call. Barry,
Yes.
Rosalie,
Yes.
Susan,
Yes.
Suzanne,
Yes.
Jay,
Yes.
and I say yes, as well. It's unanimous. Thank you for that motion.
Fred, a
That's
quick
progress.
catch.
Yes, Jay.
Howard, while you're at it, if there are any other issues from the Friends that require a legal opinion, it would probably be a good time to send that along at the same time. Not
That's it.
with this motion, but while you've got their attention.
Yeah.
I kind of vaguely remember a couple of things that were kicking around that.
Yeah.
But the city-
Exercise, the Friends also have said that they don't want to fund exercise anymore
No,
because of
but the
liability
city's-
concerns.
The
So,
city's general counsel works best one issue at a time. If
Yeah.
I ask him more than that, it'll take forever to get an answer.
okay,
No,
All right.
I mean, no disrespect. That's the way
Point-
that office
point-
can work and
point-
keep it moving.
Point taken, point taken.
Cool.
I'm
Let's see.
I'm sorry, I didn't
ahead.
have that clarification. What is the point taken about that? If
Pardon
we
me?
If we fund the exercise program, what is the point you made, Fred? I didn't hear that.
I don't know.
I suggested that while we were sending in, getting a legal opinion of driver for the van, that we also ask if there were any other issues that the Friends had with liability that they wanted the legal counsel to deal with. But Fred suggested correctly that it's better to request one thing at a time. Is that how it?
That's it, exactly. Okay, let's see. As I sent around a memo to you all on Thursday morning, January the 20th, the Secretary of Elder Affairs, Dr. Elizabeth Chen, will be visiting the Senior Center. That's a Thursday with lunch. She'll join us for lunch. I would be inclined to inform Open Door, but not ask them to make changes other than what they would normally serve on Thursday, if that's okay by all of you.
mhm.
Also-
Fred, what time will that be?
Well, at least they meet at 9:30. Is that correct at Senior Care?
Yeah, so it kind of depends a little bit, Rosalie. So she's going to be at 9:30, meeting at Senior Care. I'm going to be there as well to look at their Portraits of Dementia photographic exhibit. And it depends on how long we get through that exhibit. And then we'll be going from there to the Senior Center right afterwards.
That was why I was asking, because I have in my calendar portraits of dementia. I wanted to go to that. So if I go to that, then we would go to the other.
Yeah, Rosalie, would you escort the secretary along with Elise?
So it's all taking place at the senior center?
No, the Portraits of Dementia is at Senior Care right now, and that exhibit is gonna move to the Sawyer Free Library after it leaves Senior Care. I can't remember the date, but it's soon. So
Yeah.
I had intended on promoting it to our members to go and visit that exhibit when it's at the Sawyer Free Library, because that's just easier for everybody than Senior Care.
Yeah.
But you can definitely go and see it up at Senior Care, Rosalie. It is open to the public up there, and they're encouraging people to come and view it there. And if you wanted to be part of that viewing that's going to take place with Secretary Chen, I'd be glad to have you by my side for that, Rosalie. That
Me
would be
too.
lovely.
Would you, Rosalie? That would be great.
Yeah, I'd love to. So
Good.
we'll talk more, Elise, about
Yes.
going together.
Yeah, that sounds great, Rosalie. Yeah.
Thank you.
But,
Suggest-
yes, Jay,
I'd like to suggest that the board invite Julie LaFontaine to the senior center director, because it would be good for them to schmooze. That would be a good connection for Julie and vice versa, and
excellent.
it
Thank
bear
you.
fruit in the future.
Good.
But I think giving her a direct invitation would be a good.
That's a great idea. Thank
That's
you,
a very good
Jay.
idea.
And this is circling back a little bit to a prior agenda item, but that just makes me think to mention that I did ask Julie if she could please make it to our Christmas party, and Jen Perry, her operations director as well. And they did come down and say hi to everybody. And it was just another thing that made it feel a little more special was that Julie could make it.
Yeah.
But
Great.
yeah, we'll
I guess
invite her to
that's
the.
a very good
20th.
idea, Jay. I will do that. Okay, anything further on the new business? Then we move on to the building. Hey, some progress there. I asked Brian from the health department to come and do a re-inspection of the kitchen, and he has done that, and I passed that around, and we have passed flying colors, and I passed that on to Open Door, who responded, so they are aware that our kitchen now is fully passed. At least the sterilizer is at least on its way out, so we don't have to deal with that.
Right. The sterilizer is spoken for by a very enthusiastic Gloucester VFW who are excited to be getting it. And their membership, I don't know if you've ever gone to the VFW, but their membership skews towards seniors. So we're still able to kind of indirectly, serve seniors with the use of that piece of equipment. And because they're getting it and they're so excited, they're going to take care of coming and picking it up and taking it away. So that's fantastic news.
Good. Okay. The Wolf Range was put on an auction site used by the cities around the Commonwealth, and it sold. Somebody with the meals program that they want to start in the church thought they died and gone to heaven and found this elegant stove for very reasonable money, so that purchasing in Gloucester is happy that it didn't end up on a slag heap somewhere. And that stove, although not young, is in very good shape. It's just much too large. So the person came and got it, I believe it was yesterday. How they got it out of there, who knows, but they got it out of there, which then means that area can be cleaned up, and the convection ovens that came from veterans can be installed there. And then the smaller American range that again came from veterans, which is so really sort of half the size of the Wolf, will be installed, and we will be in business. So all of this is really falling together. So the kitchen, in short order, really is going to be fully operational as we have hoped for it. And now Howard says that the refrigerator is there, which is really cool, because that means as the kitchen becomes more and more a professional space where members of the public should not be going, that we will have this elegant refrigerator in place for fresh water, ice cubes, a freezer, and deep set. So we'll be really in fine shape. So anything else about the building facility before I move on? I should say that, well, I'll deal with BW projects later, but we made some progress there as well. On the art program, the kiln was questionable for a while. And so a service person was in there. Elise, was there a formal inspection made of the kiln?
There was, yep, a gentleman who does that, that's his profession, is kiln inspector. He came in and had a look at it and gave it the green light to go. So
Very good.
we're again firing pottery, yay.
Wonderful. The window next to the kiln in the art room was so hard to get open and closed. Has that been fixed?
No, I would have to check on that again, Fred. I don't believe so.
Okay. Because putting a suction cup on it is not the solution. That needs to be open and closed, especially when it's so close to the kiln. Great. Let's see. We have a refurbished pool table that's been given to us to replace the one that we have. Elise, do you have some sense of the timing and scheduling of that?
I don't have the schedule figured out yet. I've been speaking with Frank about it, and I've been speaking with a gentleman who uses the pool room named Joe, and talking about it. Julie has gotten a quote from a company called Stripes and Solids to refurbish the existing pool table. That quote was solicited before we got the offer of the donated one.
Right.
We also, through Julie, knowing some people, got some grant funding to help with the new felt and new bumpers and all that stuff. So we're in the midst. I just last night had a very long conversation with Joe, who like I said, is a member who uses the pool room quite often. And Julie and I had left the discussion at trying to figure out whether it made sense to even get the donated one, because we do now have the ability to refurbish the existing one. And we want to try to minimize the amount of time that the pool room is down, that we have no pool table. So I was talking to Joe about that, and he pointed out some things about the existing pool table that are really subpar, that would not be covered under what Stripes and Solids can do, the type of thing that they, would come in and do to refurbish it, or so it does seem like the new one, getting another one in there and then using some funding to either provide any small fixes to it that it might need, or maybe if it doesn't need any fixes, then we could use that money to get some better pool playing accoutrements, kind of, but maybe some better cues and such. It's just been a little bit of a bear trying to put the logistics of it together and trying to figure out whether it's appropriate to ask the DPW. I don't perceive assembling a pool table to be something that is really in the DPW's wheelhouse. And I just don't know if I'm going to be able to have them able to do it. I had a conversation with someone who I thought was the donor, but then later on, I discovered that maybe it was Joe, who I talked to in the pool room last night. I was trying to, it seemed to me that if whoever disassembled it could reassemble it, that seems like the most logical thing, because that's, if you videotape the disassembling, then you've got a blueprint to reassemble it. And my understanding, and I'm sure Frank can confirm this, is that the Friends have spoken with Affordable Movers, and that they are a moving company that would be able and willing to get it over there. But their thought was that they would disassemble and get it there, but they said that they cannot reassemble. And that's what we're kind of stuck at right now, is trying to figure out how to handle that reassembly.
Frank.
Yeah, I have been up to the donor's house in Rockport with Joe Burns, who is the pool player. Joe lives in Manchester, and he is there frequently shooting pool with those guys, and has a good time with it. But the donors are getting cold feet. It's been about a month, and what we really need is a delivery date so we can tell the trucking company when it could be picked up, and then schedule with the trucking company to have the pickup done. So it's really a two-step process. The donors didn't get their tax deduction receipt for 2021, which they weren't all that happy about. And I'm sort of in contact with them, sort of stringing them along a little bit here. The current pool table, if you go down and take a look at it, if you roll a ball into the bumpers at either end of the pool table, the ball leaps about 3 or 4 inches into the air. And there are a number of places on the surface of the table itself where you don't get a true roll. The felt is very worn, torn at the pockets. My suggestion would be take this really brand new looking pool table, very well taken care of over the years, and use that one. Reassembly, we could maybe get Stripes and Solids to do that work. We haven't looked into that yet, but the owners didn't seem to be greatly concerned about disassembling it themselves. They had originally assembled it themselves years ago when they got it for their kids. So
And
that's
I
my
had,
input.
and I had a conversation with the president of the board that is formally giving it to us, and they want very much to gift something to the senior center. And they would be unhappy if somehow that didn't come to fruition.
Well, that will happen. We're going to use that money from the president of that organization. We're going to use that either way, Fred, but it's just a question of on what pool table will it be used? Will it be the existing one, and Stripes and Solids can fix those bumper and surface issues that Frank just brought up. But Joe Burns just did point out to me last night that there are several structural things about the existing one that really wouldn't be the type of thing that Stripes and Solids would ordinarily fix.
Okay,
That
so
do make the new one better. But the thing is I can't get I can't get the other one taken out and a date where I can receive the new one until I have a plan for assembling it. So we just have to get that puzzle piece put in place.
okay, but can I have a consensus of the board that we would like to have the new pool table, or keep the old one and have it repaired? What's the sense? Just so that it at least
New
has
pool
some
table.
direction. Pardon me?
Pool table.
Anybody voting against having the new pool table? Okay, so that's the consensus of the board, Elise, okay?
It is. Yeah, go on, Jay.
Howard,
I think the Friends will pick up the cost of assembly or disassembly of this. Let's just
cool.
let's move forward and get it done. I mean,
Sweet.
and I guess the old pool table is moved to the surplus area for the city so they can dispose of it, or do we have to dispose of it?
No, I can get, that's one thing I know I can do, Howard, is that the DPW will pitch it for me. They'll dispose of it for me.
Well, if they'll pick it up, it's just a matter of getting a date for pickup and delivery here.
okay.
And
can
well,
work
like
on
I
that.
said, I need to know who can put the thing together back at the other end, and we haven't had a chance to talk to Stripes and Solid about that yet. So I'll make sure that they can do that, and we'll see what the price tag is for that.
Okay, wonderful. That's progress. Yes, Frank.
Can I make a suggestion?
Hang on just 1 second, Ben.
I will speak with those donors up in Rockport and see what the scope is of reassembly. My understanding was they were going to disassemble it themselves or have the trucking company disassemble it. So I don't think it's rocket science. Friends can take care of that.
Okay, cool. Jay,
So I would suggest, given the fact that the donors are apparently getting antsy after listening to Frank, that we simply bring that other one disassembled into the pool room as soon as possible to keep the donors happy. And then, it's going to make a mess down there, but better to have two than none, or one broken one.
yes, and the mess will need to be cleaned up quickly.
Sure. I mean,
Exactly.
I think a quick call to DPW and they'll send somebody
Agreed.
down.
Okay, let's see.
So I guess we should give Frank marching orders to get it over here.
Elise, you okay with that?
I want to talk to Stripes and Solids one more time to see if they can reassemble it, because I think it's one thing to say that the Friends will take care of it, but like I'm a planner. I want I's dotted and T's crossed. I want to know how the pool table is getting reassembled, because I know I'm not doing it. Julie's not doing it. My staff's not doing it. So I just want to know I want to talk to the company one more time that can do the felting and the bumpers and see if they'll take care of all of it for us. And once we get a date from them that they can do that, then we'll set a date for receiving the new pool table.
Okay, moving on. Let's see, the upgrading the AED machine to the fire department standards. There was a training that Elise coordinated for CPR and working with the AED heart stimulation machine, and the fire department were not happy with the model that we have. That what we have is obsolete. For example, if it's employed on a person while waiting for emergency personnel to arrive. Once the emergency personnel put on their AED machine, all of the prior history is lost from what we found or what the machine found when the first received. So a new machine is one that is better information for the EMTs and whatnot, and an important thing for us to purchase. At least you want to take it from there?
Yeah, so as you said, Fred, yeah, a better machine allows them to just change out some of the wires, the pads, the electrodes kind of that they put on you, stay there, and they get to continue to capture that data without losing any of that previous data. We got a price tag now again, because I'm home and I'm not at my desk. I don't have it right in front of me, but we did get a rough estimate from the fire department of what one of the new ones would cost. And as serendipity would have it, I got a phone call from somebody the other day at New England Biolabs in Ipswich, and they had a grant for us. They just said, hey, we can we give you some money? And that was great. They have a program where they allow their employees to suggest different charitable donations, and an employee had suggested that they give it to the Council on Aging, the Gloucester Council on Aging Rose Baker Senior Center, to the specifically to the Triad program, or for something that was related to Triad. So that is my thought, that we can use that grant fund to go towards the AED. I think that certainly falls under the, the umbrella of what Triad is about. And there will be, I think, an additional kind of maybe marginal payment to get that grant up to where it needs to be to purchase that better piece of equipment that the fire department recommends. So I'll get those figures emailed out to you, Howard. And that was my thought, was that maybe over and above that grant, that marginal amount that is needed to get that new, better AED, maybe the Friends could pick that up.
Question, Elise?
Yeah.
And to the board, I guess. Would it make sense to ask Captain Smith at the fire department if maybe they have some money kicking around so that we can change it? It was their suggestion.
Yeah, I've asked that already, and I've been told that they do not.
That they do not. And I went to the health department, who acquired one for us and one for the library as a result of the grant. And that grant is no longer in existence. But it was a one-time grant, and we got our machines, and the library got theirs through that grant. But that grant has not been renewed. So that funding source also dried up. So the fact that she got it out of the blue is an act of God, which is very nice.
Yeah.
Makes one believe in prayer. Let's see. That's good. Actually having top flight equipment. That's really good. Anything further before I move on to DPW projects? Okay, Suzanne, where are we with whiteboards?
Well, WB Mason has a plethora of whiteboards. So after looking the website over, I picked a couple. I sent you an email and Elise an email with a suggestion for one for the first floor in an area that Lisa and I had looked at. And then something for upstairs for the office suites that Elise had indicated she wanted. And so I'm waiting to hear back from you and Elise.
I don't remember getting an email.
Oh, okay. I sent it maybe 2 days ago, 3 days ago.
Yeah. Well,
Elise, did you
yeah.
get it?
I did, Suzanne, and thank you so much. The ones for the office doors seem like a done deal to me. Those are going to be very helpful.
Yeah.
The other one, size-wise, I think I made a mental note to just kind of do some kind of mock-up of that size and see if that really is the size that we need. So I'll do that as soon as I'm back in the office and let you know if that will meet our needs or if it might need to be a little bit bigger. But that was the mental note that I made, was this, that I needed to get some kind of better idea to kind of translate that size from the specs that I was seeing, that you provided, to like a visual representation of that. So
Okay,
Yeah, I'll get back to that and get right back to you. But the ones for the office doors, I think are perfect.
Great, and
Okay.
DPW is willing to pay for that.
right. So Fred, I'll resend that email to you and
Yes,
then
please.
we'll wait to see from Elise the size.
Good.
And then where does it go from there, Fred? Do you contact DPW? Do you want me to?
I can do that.
Okay.
Unless well, would it be helpful for you to have a working relationship with DPW?
Well, I have a working relationship with Mike Hale already.
Yeah, then you want to do this?
Sure.
Great, that would be cool.
Okay.
Good. All right, where are we? Let's see. I had a conversation with Michael via text yesterday to ask on the variety of things that are on the agenda. The generator is on order and there just aren't any in the country. It's just really. So that's the supply chain stuff. When that breaks loose, I would presume there'll be a lot of them. We don't have. With the contract for the increasing for AV equipment and the wiring, rewiring of the entire building, both of those contracts are in effect and have been approved. But where we are in the chain of getting things actually done, Michael will have to circle back with IT Ryan in order to find out where we are on that. But that dollar figure seems to have been included in prior budgeting. I'm going to have a meeting with Mayor Verga to go through all of the DPW things that are pending, particularly the big ticket items to get his nod on these various projects before we go much further than that. But it's Michael again says that it's a will-do project. The ADA doors, the 36-inch sliders to replace the existing swing doors. Again, funding apparently has surfaced for that, but it's the supply chain stuff. He said hardware is weeks out with winter coming, and how many weeks, who knows. But that is a project that essentially is approved, but sort of in the same column as the generator. And with the parking lot signs, in order to control the red line spaces that are utilized by Meals on Wheels drivers, we're waiting on those signs. It's on the to-do list for the sign making division, DPW, and they just haven't been made yet. So that project is not lost, it's just delayed. Any comment on any of that?
Thank you, Fred.
Okay, then the tabled items are staff remote workstation and bisecting the Great Hall. And both of those subjects, I'll carry them forward, although I don't believe there's any activity on either one of them at the moment. But again, the bisecting the Great Hall, I will include that in my conversation with Mayor Verga, see if that's something that is of particular interest to him. I want to say also briefly, I had a phone call from when he was still mayor-elect. He had a conversation with Bob Gillis and Andrew DeFranza. Andrew DeFranza is the president of Harbor Light Community Partners, who provide low income senior housing all around the neighborhood. And Bob Gillis is the chairman of his board. And again, the issue of Gloucester having an assisted living residence for low income persons is on the front burner, such that those two were summoned by the mayor-elect, and their recommendation was that they should touch base with me, because I was the last person to chair the Senior Housing Options Committee that was the brainchild of Plan 2001, and originally chaired by Sonny Robinson, where we had about 30 people that we met once a month, all of whom had an interest in one fashion or another on availability of the provision of senior housing, where we also gave developers a chance to come to express an interest in their projects for Gloucester, just to get input. No votes, this was not a city board, just simply was an advisory committee really of people. Well, now with increased funding and availability of opportunities for 100% affordable assisted living residents, although now probably more under the heading of a CCRC, continuing care retirement community, which is more liberal in enabling people to stay put as their health deteriorates and allows them to import more and more services rather than the old assisted living model. The mayor expressed a very strong interest in wanting to pursue this. So again, that'll be really the principal thing I'll be talking with him about when I go to see him. In terms of finding space that is affordable, the place that we have set aside up at Gloucester Crossing is still available. It's permitted, although the presumption there was that it was going to be 80% affordable and 20%, I'm sorry, 80% market rate and 20% affordable. But marketing studies that others have done, and actually I did about 10 years ago, proved that that was not a sustainable market in Gloucester, that people who could afford it to pay market rate would prefer to stay at home and import services, and that is probably still true. But that if we were to build something roughly 70, 80 units that for affordable, low income housing, the sort of thing that Harbor Light Community Partners really specializes in, that we would keep it full with no trouble at all. It's a viable model. Otherwise, I don't think Bob Gillis and Andrew would have gone to see the mayor about it at all. So I want to make it clear, though, that at this stage in my life, this is not a project that I should or really will want to have a principal lead on other than advocacy. I proved to myself, being briefly the president of the library, that that's too hard for me at this stage. It's too demanding. But I can, as you can tell, I can talk until I'm blue in the face on the need for assisted living or some variety of that in Gloucester, so that people don't have to leave here, and that people who want to come and visit them can, again, without having to go as far as Beverly or Lynn or some other place like that. So, are you all familiar with Harbor Light Community Partners?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, they're wonderful. They do really, really good work. So, any contributions that you have, thoughts about that, feed them to me, or go and see the mayor yourself to advocate on behalf of this for Gloucester, because we need it. Also, as a way of freeing up affordable housing for people who are in no need of care, but simply to have more affordable housing. If we get 70 people to move into this facility, that frees up then 70 low-income units, so that's a win-win for the focus that the planning board has been working on forever, of trying to increase the rate of affordable housing. And that maybe also, Jay, that might make us less vulnerable for 40B development as well. Jay?
I would think so, yeah. A quick caveat, Fred. So the Baker administration has just put forward a proposal, which I believe is law, that if you're within a half a mile of a rail line, which describes a lot of Gloucester, you can supersede any local development ordinances and build housing, because Massachusetts has such a need for housing. So keep that in the back of your mind when you do speak with the mayor, that I hear that Shaw's near me, the East Gloucester Shaw's is going to be a big housing project. Someone just bought it for a lot of money. So we have more options for where we would place that. Just keep it in the back of your mind and let the mayor know. It's got law. I don't know if people are aware of it yet, but we're going to see a lot more housing development, which may or may not be a good thing. It'll be good if it's affordable. It'll be bad if it's not.
Exactly.
And for my 2 cents. But keep that in mind when you talk to the mayor, that will significantly change the zoning in Gloucester. Because so much of Gloucester is within a half a mile of the rail line. It kind of runs through the.
A lot of the rail line runs through the watershed, so that we are protected from that.
Yeah.
Fred,
Yes, Susan.
can you ask the mayor for an update on the old YMCA project? Because that was supposed to be senior housing.
That is.
Okay.
That is my understanding. I don't think that's changed.
Yeah, I just haven't heard anything about it anymore.
Yeah. The real purpose of the meeting will be senior housing issues. And I'm going to be tacking on the other things if they'll afford me the time. Barry, you look pensive.
Can I make one more suggestion, Fred, when you have your meeting with the mayor on housing?
Hang on just a second. Barry wanted to speak.
Sorry, Barry, go ahead.
I just have to get my orientation. Are you talking the Gloucester Crossing site, which was proposed initially by the developer as affordable housing?
It was to be, yes, it was going to be a combination of HUD-funded independent living, sort of back, and then the front of that, a 70-unit assisted living residence, and the two of them would feed each other. Both of those projects blew up.
Correct.
Principally, and the land is $3.2 million. It was. And the one thing that Harbor Light Community Partner cannot carry is debt. Their funding source, they have roughly 4 or 5 different funding sources depending upon the income level of the residents, in order to be able to run these facilities so that a person who's living in them never pays more than 1/3 of their income for rent. So if you're getting $1,100 a month for Social Security and that's it, 1/3 of that is what it costs you to live in their assisted living with 3 meals a day and 45 minutes of care. That was the model that we were working from. But what we can't afford was the $3.5 million, whatever it would be now for the land. So I don't think that that piece of property would fly, but perhaps the developer could find us something else so that they can have that back.
As a swap.
That.
Okay, thank you.
As a swap. I don't know. This has been such an interesting project for me, but nothing has moved on it for the last 10 years, at least.
There's a reason it's so difficult, and it's the money aspect. And just a quick caveat for the board's knowledge, Seattle is some similar demographics to Gloucester, in that there's money in the community, but a tremendous amount of poverty and a lack of workforce housing. And what they've done is and this is done in Florida also, they charge people with second homes a tax, and that money goes into a designated account. You can't just give it to the city, because typically the people who need affordable housing on a voting block or a strong political block in communities. So the bigger and more powerful voting blocks, i.e. in Gloucester, it would be real estate development interests, have more political power, and we don't see affordable housing happening for that reason. So, you need to set up something similar to what the Friends of the Council on Aging did, which was to sort of have a funding source for seniors, which the city didn't have direct control over, because then it wouldn't be open to the vagaries of politics in a community. So I would suggest you mention to the mayor that he might want to think about starting to set up a program to tax second homes in Gloucester, which there are a lot, and put that money directly into a housing, an affordable housing fund. And eventually it's a way to pay for it. Otherwise, if you can't pay for it, it ain't going to happen.
That's been the problem. Yeah,
and it hasn't been, and there's been a lot of talk about it, but no one wants to take the political step or have the courage to actually try to put some money together to do it.
It's a new day, and all of us are now seniors, which changes things. I just turned 73, so there you are.
When was your birthday, Fred?
Huh?
When was your birthday?
December the 3rd.
Oh, happy belated birthday,
Oh,
Fred.
no, all done. No. Let's see. Anybody have anything for the next agenda? That's not Howard, yes.
Yeah, I'd like to see, we tabled at the last meeting about those statistics. When people sign in, I'd like to see more of those statistics.
Okay.
Today, the perfect example, we blamed the lower attendance at the Christmas party on COVID, and we tend to blame everything on COVID. But if we could get the statistics, we may show that in some of our programs, we're really higher than we were before. But that machine at the front desk was meant to keep track of the people attending it, but also it helps us in the year end when we bill. There are 7,000 seniors in Gloucester. The last time, the year before, when we checked on the statistic, 4,800 separate people, separate individuals attended at least one event at the senior center. That's a staggering amount out of 7,500 seniors. So I like to see that those statistics, something as how many attended bingo, how many attended the exercise classes, but something to show us either we're declining, we're stable, or we're moving upward. Hopefully we're going to buck the trend.
Yes, sir. It's
Yeah,
on my
those
list.
statistics are part of an annual report that I have to produce for the state for the formula grant that we get. Howard, I'll when I produce them for them, I can disseminate them to all.
But that also, I was right, it would be nice to have a discussion how we are doing on a rolling basis, not every agenda, but give us just a sense of the numbers and kind of year-to-date stuff.
Yep.
Looking further for the next coming agenda for our meeting, which would be on the first Tuesday in February the 1st at 9:30. Does that work for people? February the 1st?
I won't be here.
You want, happy you, someplace warm, I hope.
Hopefully.
Well, I presume that it will be another Zoom meeting. So if you're bored wherever you are on February the 1st.
I will be traveling with my two sons, so
Cool.
it
Well,
should be interesting. It always is. We have
well,
fun.
if you need the company of elders, you can just come to the Zoom meeting. And Rosalie, when you talk next to Roseanne, encourage her to maybe come to the next meeting.
Okay, I will.
It'll be on Zoom. It'll be on Zoom. Thank you. May I have a motion to adjourn, please?
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Barry, and I will second that. Thank you, one and all.
Thank
Fred.
you, everyone.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.